To our Elul Drasha series. Every Sunday in Elul we have a Drasha to get us in the mindset, the proper achanas. We know when it comes to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, to a large extent, the hatzlacha that we'll have, the Ez Hashem, is dependent on the achana, the preparation that we do, and the hatzlacha we have in the Yom Noraim is really going to be kaveh for us what Tavshin Pehei has to offer us, Ben Hashem, only simcha and bracha. We have Rabbi Blejer to start off the Drasha series for Elul Tavshin Pei Dal. Rabbi Blejer is the Rosh Koil and Enebi Koilo. The Enebi Koilo is one of the top Mekoimis of Talmud Torah in South Florida, and it's a place that everybody here pretty much benefits from. Hey Mitzad, the etzem fact that there's light dedicated to high-level Talmud Torah the entire day going on in our environs, as well as they have a tendency to attract tremendous talent that come down to learn under Rabbi Blejer and a singer, and they end up staying. And one case in point is Rabbi Yehuda Suvar, which we could say is our Rabbi Yehuda Suvar, who was given one of the Kingdom Masechtas here for almost 3 years. And Baruch Hashem became an 8th grade Rebbe in Torah service. Many of our sons will have it. Many of our children have the former Yungalite and the wives of Yungalite who end up staying down here. So we all benefit in a direct way from the Koil. We're very much indebted and have a karas to Rabbi Blejer and the entire Koilo. And it's a big excuse for us to hear some Divrei Torah, Divrei Soiros from Rabbi Blejer.
There's an introduction. Appreciate it, and it's a big schluss to be here. A lot of familiar faces. We get to see everybody, and he, like the Rav said, it is a big inyan to prepare ourselves at this time for Yom Noraim. That's what the Elul is all about. And I kind of grabbed the Rav's slot because I think he was slotted this week, and it didn't work out my schedule, so I asked him to switch. So thank you for giving me the opportunity opening slot here to discuss the days of Elul. So I'm going to ask a question and maybe use it as a little bit of a mashal to help us understand what we're supposed to be doing now. So we have a couple days left, 30 days, but it's already Dalet Hey Elul. So what is the month of Elul supposed to be? So what's the siman in halacha that Yemei Elul are days of tshuva? The siman in halacha is that we blow the shofar. We blow the shofar. It's brought in the Torah. It's brought in the Pirkei Rabbi Lazar. We blow the shofar on the entire Chodesh of Elul. Seemingly, that's to remind us it's days of tshuva. It's time to start. Now, if the purpose of the shofar was to tell us, listen, this, and this are wrong. You got to fix yourself up. You got to get your act together and correct everything. Do full tshuva. Then why wouldn't we have the shofar during the Aseret Yemei Tshuva? I would think that the Aseret Yemei Tshuva are the days of tshuva. If anything, we should have the shofar during those days. And yet, it comes the days of Elul. We have the shofar. We get to Rosh Hashanah, and now we're done. The shofar, we need that Hesairos, don't we? I mean, that's the whole. So, why is it that it stops? Dafka now, Dafka before then, and in general, there's days of tshuva that are Aseret Yemei Tshuva, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Aseret Yemei Tshuva, and then there's the days of Elul, which we also seem to be calling them days of tshuva. And are they the same? Are they different? What are we supposed to be focusing on now? And how do we take advantage best of these days? So many years ago, I got a brother-in-law of mine was living in Ofakim at the time, and they actually lived there in the middle of the desert in Eretz Yisrael. And there's big nisim in Ofakim. October 7th, there's a big nisim over there. Anyone heard the stories that happened over there? But it was tremendous nisim that happened there. But Ofakim was a very chashuv city. My sister was living there at the time. And my brother heard the yeshiva of the yeshiva. The yeshiva in Ofakim at the time was Rav Shimshon Pinkas Zatzal. And he recorded the shir on a cassette tape, and he sent me the tape. And I was listening to the tape. And it was a long time ago. So, Rav Pinkas didn't ask this exact question, but he dealt with this issue. And he gave a Gavaldig mashal. And his mashal is like this. He says that there was a guy that, let's say, so someone's up someone's in New York, and they're looking to get on a train down to Florida, and they're all ready. He already forgot that he's in New York. He's in his bathing suit, he's in his shorts. He's getting on the train. He's already like on his mind. In his mind, he's already there. He gets onto the train, and he's getting comfortable. And he starts looking around. He's like, "This is a little odd over here. It's strange. How do these people wearing their earmuffs and their coats, and they half of them have skis and like, what's going on over here?" So he says, we're going south, right? So he said, no, this is going to Vermont, to Maine, we're going skiing. This train's going north, I'm supposed to be going south. So the train's going, he immediately gets out of his seat and starts running the other way. Starts running up the train. So, what are you doing? The train's going north, I gotta go south, so I'm running, I'm gonna get to I'm running. So, eventually he's like running from car to car, and he thinks he's like making so much progress. He's like and in the meanwhile, someone eventually realizes what are you doing? He says, no, I'm going the wrong way, and I'm running. I got to get to my destination. So he says, listen, let me give you a piece of advice. The first thing you got to do is you got to jump off the train. To jump off the train, you start running, maybe you'll make some progress. But if you don't jump off the train, you're not going to make any progress. So Rav Pinkus said, then he said that there's the days of Elul we got to make sure we're on the right train altogether. You can find your seat and you can try to get your seat and get it all cozy and get ready. But if you're not on the right train, you're not going in the right direction, all your running that you're doing is just not going to help you. You don't have your priorities are not set up straight, your values are not set up properly, what you're focused on, what you're trying to aim for, where you're going, it's all wrong. So therefore, focusing on the minutia is not going to help you. The days of Elul are days of setting up your compass, setting up your priorities, setting up where are we going, making sure that we're on the right train. Rabbi Sosalanter says that, what's the shofar? He says the function of the shofar is like the shviras haluchos. What happened when Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and he breaks the luchos? But he explains why he breaks the luchos. He sees Klal Yisrael doing an egel, and he says, what's wrong with Klal Yisrael? Am kshei oiref. They're stubborn people. So if I had to come and plead the case, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, this is the problem, they're am kshei oiref, I want to get rid of them. They did avodah zarah, they have no hakar satoiv, they just, a couple days, less than 2 months after Yetzias Mitzrayim, they go ahead and they can do this to me. But Hashem says that the ikar problem is that the Am Kshei Oiref. Am Kshei Oiref means they're very stubborn. So what does Moshe Rabbeinu, to get their attention, he has to break the luchos. Rabbi Sosalanter says there's a shviras haluchos that gets people's attention. And once you have your attention, now I can tell you, okay, guys, you're off. Yeah. We have to, I finally got your attention. The function of the shofar in the days of El is to get our attention. It serves as that shviras haluchos, which is there to say, 11 months went by since we even bothered to see where we're going. We haven't even bothered to see what train we're on. And now we're going to focus on, okay, I'm going to, bench from a sitter or whatever and do something. Every small thing is amazing. But you don't know where you're going in life. And we never really took a chance to recalibrate. So you have to have a shviras haluchos. You have to have this like a sudden shock. And on Rosh Chodesh Elul, you hear that shofar. And every morning, you're in shul, you hear that shofar, the shofar penetrates. And the shofar reminds us, 1 second. Elul like the Rambam says, Elul ha-shoichim es ha-emes b'havlei hazman. That we could forget about the truth, what we really know, but we get carried away b'havlei hazman. We get carried away with the day-to-day. We get carried away with other things that we make our priorities, and we make them important. And therefore, there's 2 sorts of tshuva. And there's 2 seasons, and there's 2 types and 2 days set aside for tshuva. There's tshuva of the shofar of El, which reminds us to find the right train. Reminds us to find the right direction, to find our priorities, set up our values, set ourselves up, that we want to be doing the right thing. We have to remind ourselves of what we really want. What is it that's What is it that's getting in our way? What is it that's really bothering us? What is it that's distracting us? Because ultimately, the biggest proof is everyone's here. No one would be here if they weren't interested. Not that they have to hear what I have to say, but coming together as a group and trying and as a group trying to hear a little bit about the days and trying to move forward is a tremendous gesture of showing that this is important to me. I do want to know. So that's the Aleph. Obviously, everybody cares. So deep down, we want it. But there's something out there that grabs our attention that somehow doesn't allow us to focus on that. And whether it could be a whole lot of things. It could be our job. It could be the parnasa. It could be our children. It could be our family. It could be our phones. It could be a lot of things that are distracting us. Different SARS, different things going on, news, what's interesting, hobbies. There's a lot of things out there that distract us. And we're busy with that the whole year. And a year goes by, and somehow a year goes by faster than we all think it does. I never heard anyone say, this went by so slow. This is so slow. Wow, it's just November? Whoa. I thought it was, people tend to feel like time just flies by. And here we are again. So everyone's making that statement of, there's something here, I really want to tap into it, and this is the function of the shofar is to remind us these are the days to do that. These are the days to decide where do you want to be. What is it that's important to me? And try to utilize time and say, what is that distracting me? If really, I've heard so many things about how tefillah is my connection. Tefillah is our connection. And a person is sitting there during tefillah, so why don't I feel connected? Over the year, I've probably heard 10 drashas, at least, about how tefillah is our connection. It's 3 times a day, we have that opportunity to do it, but I don't feel connected, l'maisa. So let's take a step back. But I want to be. And then, Aser Tzvi Tshuva, Rosh Hashanah, as we get closer, we can make a plan. How to make it better? What can I do, l'maisa, to focus more? What can I do, l'maisa, to minimize my distractions? But the aleph is that we have to start recalibrating our priorities and say, yeah, I do think that tefillah is that connection. So why am I not feeling it? What is it that's getting in my way? All right? We hear the Rabbi makes a big emphasis on learning Torah. Every person has to have their kviyas itim Torah. Everyone has their connection to Torah. So we know that, and we do know it. But there's more we could do. Why? So what is it that's getting in my way? Am I just lazy? Do I have an excuse? Is my excuse real? Is it not real? Is there something that's not allowing me to do it? Am I getting too caught up in a lot of other things out there? Whether there's just a lot of things that we can be kind of caught up with. So it's not so much right now even about this or that or specific things, but maybe it's take a step back and instead of running up and down the train, get off the train for a moment and think about which train to get on. And make sure that we're on the right train to begin with and that we are connecting to that which we really do know is our priorities. It's in this week's parasha, there's, I think, the only remez to this idea of Elul in the Chumash is in this week's parasha. The idea that Elul is the days of tshuva. And if I would ask anybody where in the Chumash, if there was anywhere that there should be a remez to tshuva, to the days of Elul in the Chumash. So maybe it's in Parshas Nitzavim, we talked about tshuva over there, or Shema, one of the important things, or the Maimon Har Sinai, something important, something very fundamental. So in the Or Chaim brings from the Zohar HaKadosh a remez for the days of tshuva from the very first parsha in this week's parsha, Sedra, from the parsha of Eshes Yifas Torah. So of all things, we have to look to the Eshes Yifas Torah to find a remez for the days of Elul. What does it say? It says, Uvachsa, that she cries, Esavia Ves'ima Yerach Yamin. She cries for 30 days. The Zohar brings down Da Chodesh de Elul. This is referring to the days of Elul. And basically it's part of the idea that but it's strange. What is it about this parsha that has any remez to the days of Elul? So the pshat is this cry right here that she's doing. What happened? She gets captive. Essentially, she's a captive, and there's a process that she has to do in order to convert and become part of a Jewish woman and eventually marry into the Jewish people. Okay, but she's before that process in that pasuk, and it says she cries for 30 days. Why is she crying? So it says Ubal says Avia v'sima yerach yam. She's crying is not going to get her out. She's crying, but the reason she's crying is because she knows that she doesn't really belong here. She's really from somewhere else. She's from somewhere else, and she's all of a sudden in a new environment, and she doesn't feel like this is correct. This is not where I belong. So she's crying to go back to where she belongs. So the days of Elul is that longing to realize that for a full year, 11 months, maybe we weren't exactly where we belong. We got caught up in the whole surroundings that's really foreign, and we got very used to it. But eventually we have to realize we don't really belong there and reconnect to the things which we really know are important. And that's really, I think, how we can start off this month. Maybe the people after me and throughout the Chodesh can focus on very specific things and aids us of how to improve in different areas. But perhaps we can start off by first reassessing and reevaluating where we are. Where are we exactly where we want to be? Because I have a feeling that if we were exactly where we want to be, we wouldn't necessarily be right here. We could be doing already, we could be doing Daf Yomi now. You don't have to be hearing a new drug. Everyone feels that they could be a little bit more connected to where they want to be. So this is the time to think about that. Think about where do I really want to be, and is there something getting in my way? Is there something that's not allowing me to make that connection? But I just want to add an unbelievable thought that I saw this week from Ritzak Isaac Chaver. Ritzak Isaac Chaver is a Talmud of Reb Chaim Volozhiner, is a Talmud of the Vilna Gaon. So it's all from the base medrash of the Vilna Gaon. And he says there as follows. He says that as we know, we're all waiting, we all feel like we're in the times getting close to Mashiach. And the Chazal say that there's two ways that Mashiach will come. Mashiach will come either be'ita, Mashiach has a time to come, and Hashem will make sure that he comes at that time, or there's Achishena. There's a time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make it come quicker based on our actions. What determines how Mashiach is going to come? Either if we do tshuva on our own, we do tshuva, we realize, and everyone, and as a nation we do tshuva, Mashiach is going to come quick, right then, right away. Or it's be'ita. Hashem's going to figure out a way to make sure that we do tshuva. It may not be on our own will, but he's going to figure it out. Why? Because Hashem doesn't give up on Klal Yisrael. That's what Rabbi says. He never gives up on Klal Yisrael. And therefore, since he doesn't give up on Klal Yisrael, he's going to make sure that Mashiach is going to come. If you're not doing it on your own, I'll figure out a way, Ma'imid Alei Melech Kasha Kahaman, and you're going to end up having to do tshuva, the Gemara says. If you don't do it on your own, I'll figure out a way to remind you, and you're going to have to end up doing tshuva. But I'm not going to forget about you. You're going to come back eventually. And he says, that's Meruz in the Pasuk, but then he says that if you look in the psukim of the Haftarah of Shabbos Shuvah, so the same is true for every Yachid as well. Every Yachid is going to come back also. Every Yachid is going to fulfill their mission. Everyone was put on this. Everyone has a connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and everyone has their mission. And everyone's going to fulfill the mission, which is really, according to the Mishnah Berurah, the part of the purpose of the story of Yoina. The story of Yoina is that Yoina tried to run away, but there's no running away. You end up having to do your mission. Your mission will be accomplished. And the question is, are you going to connect to it, or you're not going to connect to it? There's Be'ita and there's Achishana, and every person's individual mission as well. Why? L'val yidach mimenu nidach. The same lashon. Hashem doesn't forget any individual person either. Hashem doesn't write off. He doesn't write off Klal Yisrael, and he doesn't write off any individual either. And every individual, Hashem says, you have a mission to do. And I hope that you realize what your mission is, and you connect to your mission and you do it. But if not, I never write you off. And I have a way to make sure that I want to get your mission accomplished. and I'm going to help you accomplish it, but try to connect to it. But then he adds an unbelievable thing. He says, so this is the hanhaga of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He doesn't give up. He doesn't write us off. He says, this is Mechayev us as well. We can't write anybody off either. And a lot of times we have that in our life, that person, if a person has a Talmud, a person has someone, a worker, a person that they hang out with, a person that's just a nudnik that's always been around, and something we just like, just enough already. And he says that we can't write anybody off. You write somebody, Hashem doesn't write us off, we can't write anybody off. This is the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to believe in everybody's ability to change and everybody's ability to eventually change. But the most important thing is that we have to believe in our own ability also. Because we're starting off the month of Elul, and for many of us, one of the thoughts that crosses our mind is that we've been down this road before. And we've been down this road, this is an Elul, and like the Bali Musa say, the year starts off as Hashana and ends off as Shana, meaning a lot of times that we think that, we've been down this road and we hope we're going to be able to change, and then somehow we're back where we are, and are we really, did we make progress? So first of all, I don't believe that, because I think everyone does make progress. And a person can look back at themselves and say, am I really the same as I was 5 years ago? Oh, I've learned things, I've grown in certain areas, I have changed. But despite that, we tend to get this feeling like, okay, am I really going to be able to utilize the time? I've been down this road and it doesn't really work. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't give up on us, then surely we can't give up on ourselves. We have to know that we have the ability to connect to it, we have the ability to do it, and we can't give up on ourselves if we want HaKadosh Baruch Hu not to give up on us, on each one of us either. So, as we go further and deeper into the days of Elul and we approach Rosh Hashanah, we can take a step back. We can look at ourselves and say, "Oh, this is what I want. This is what's the my priorities. What I really feel is important, and have I done as good of a job as I can in connecting to it? Well, there's things that are in my way. There's things that have been distracting me from it. And slowly develop a plan how we can improve on that. But this is how to utilize the shofar. When we hear that shofar, that's the shvira saluchos, to get down to the bottom of ourselves, to open ourselves up a little bit and utilize the time as best as possible, yearn to come back and realize that, like the Eshes Ifastar Boxo, so we have Esima to call out and say that, we're here, but this is not really this is not really where we want to be. There's somewhere deeper that we want to be, and we can connect to it and connect to that message, and most importantly, not give up on ourselves. And if we don't give up on ourselves, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not give up on us either, and He'll help us reach our goals, Be'ezer Hashem. So we shall be zeicha to be nis'orer, to realize our true potential, and through these days, truly come to a full tshuva and utilize our full potential to the best we can.